Alright, we're all good. You safe, thank goodness. I rushed here as soon as I heard the tidings from Raha. Is this true? Beings claiming to be the 12 have appeared? Yes, and we just blew them all up. You defeated them all? Incredible. I had no doubt that you would succeed, but I'm no less impressed for it. Gahaha, seldom have I felt such exhilaration. Oh, so they don't just explode when you beat them. Do they have to do this every time? I can actually see them now. No weird overlay. To think that the day would come that we would put on an act for men. I must say, Bargot, you played the villain's role to perfection. Okay, so they were just like hamming it up. Gotcha. Makes a bit of sense. Come now, Master. I merely did what was necessary to compel the mortals to confront us. Oh, I forgot they've got this super complicated relationship between all of them. Still, it pained me to speak to our beloved children so unkindly. So you say, Azima, yet you seemed happy enough to fight them. You did not forget the true purpose of the trial, I hope. Well, I couldn't help but be excited, and do not tell me you felt differently. Consider yourselves fortunate, children. 'Tis rare indeed to see Nald Thal in such high spirits. What in the world is happening? Didn't you say you had defeated them? Did they manage to flee, or perhaps were resummoned so they're not actually primals? Put up your weapons, you have naught to fear from us. Rest assured, we are not summoned beings. We do not drain the land of ether, nor do we take men into our thrall. But what are the gods who were summoned during the calamity? The ones Master Lucia called forth to protect the realm. That was not us, but a primal born of your fervent prayers for salvation. Oh. Indeed, that the worst of the calamity was averted and the realm restored in its aftermath was a direct testament to the power of your hopes. I forgot that no one else knows about Phoenix. Okay. Yeah, what are they? Are they not going to tell us? Just as men harbor hopes, so too do we gods. To realize our aspirations, 'tis essential that we do battle with you. Thus did I falsely claim that we sought to rule the world. 'Twas deceitful conduct unworthy of a divinity, and I must apologize, not only for that, but for using my power to do harm besides. These hopes of yours, won't you tell us what they are? We cannot. If you wish to know the truth, you must discover it for yourselves. 'Tis not easy to move forward when there is seemingly no destination, but if you press on, you'll eventually arrive at answers you seek. You will understand why we hold our peace, and far more besides, you will learn the very truth of our existence. Go forth, mortals, and seek knowledge of us, and when the time is right, we shall meet again in this place. When I first explored the Phantom Realm, it appeared to be unoccupied. To think it was home to the gods. We have met and exchanged words with the 12. When I pause to think, I can scarce believe it. As if hearing about your battling the 12 wasn't shocking enough, to have them appear before my very eyes, suffice it to say it's been an interesting day. While much about them remains shrouded in mystery, at least they seem open to reason. In considering our next step, I should very much like to hear your detailed account of them. Right after I have a word with our client, that is. Please give me a moment to introduce myself, and then we can review the situation. Greetings, I am Kryl of the Students of Baldessian. Do I have the pleasure of addressing Derek, the explorer who sought aid in investigating this place? I am Derek, and this here is a baby Opo Opo. Yes, I can see that. Doesn't it have a name? None that I know of, nor would I presume to bestow one, for that would be condescending. I see. That's very considerate of you. So I understand. Yeah, see, that whole exchange was kind of something up with this guy. I don't know what it is though. So I understand you explored the various Phantom Realms with Derek. Will you recount to me the experience? So while the gods tested you sorely, you did not sense any malicious intent. As Baragot said, they wished to do battle with us, but 'twould seem they do not necessarily wish to cause us harm. Though much and more about this perplexes, perhaps 'tis safe to assume that they are not primals. As you may recall, Livingway once told us that the art of summoning, as taught by the Asians, incorporates a fervent desire to assimilate others into one's belief. Thus do the resultant primals seek to enthrall worshippers, who in turn seek to grow their ranks. But these beings appear to harbor no such desire. If they are primals, then they are unlike those that have been summoned in recent memory. We might suppose that they were created in antiquity in like manner to Heidelin, but there is no way to prove it. But could they possibly be, and why do they desire battle with man? Even of your little Eorza, you know precious little. The true identities of the 12, for instance. See, yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm convinced that they're ancients. Emetselk did say that, didn't he? By which we may assume he knew the truth, and challenge you to seek it out too. Suffice it to say you'll do so, of course. Insofar as we can ascertain, this is a matter which has implications for the entire star. In light of this, the students of Baldessian formally accept the commission. We will investigate the Phantom Realm and the beings who call themselves the 12. I'm pleased to hear that. Thank you. Without further ado, then, I will take a good look around. There are a few things I'm curious about. Then, with your permission, I will take myself around. With your permission, I'll take myself around Eorzea and investigate the worship of those gods we encountered. So, Derek, seeing as you've already seen this place, would you care to accompany me? By all means, in which case... Could you stay here with Kryl, my friend? It wouldn't do to leave a fair maiden alone. I shall be glad for the company. Take care then, and good luck. Shall we ask Grahati about his plan? So, to explain my plan, 'Tis believed that the 12 were already worshipped during the Third Astral Era when the Allegan Empire flourished. Come the Fifth Astral Era, those nations who fought in the War of the Magi each took one of the 12 as a guardian deity. This practice has continued to the present day in Eorza, with some notable regional differences. For instance, Ishgardens hold Halone as absolute, while Charlings enjoy a moderate relationship with Thaliak. By visiting various locations in Eorza and learning about the 12 as they are worshipped, I hope to identify any similarities or differences between them and the beings we encountered. In so doing, I believe we will draw closer to the truth of their identities. For our first destination, I propose we take ourselves to Rhalgr's Reach. The place is holy grounds for worshippers of the Destroyer, and promises to yield useful details. There you are, Stella. This place served as the base of operations for your investigation into Omega, did it not? How delightful to be here together. If you don't mind me making an observation, it seems you enjoy traveling with company. I do. It's something I had dreamed of for a long time. Nothing like traveling with good friends. Is that so? What of yourself? Do you normally travel alone? In my wanderings I much prefer to have solitude. Not that I avoid people or communities, mind you. As a matter of fact, I've been here before on the trail of the Phantom Realm. Now that I think on it, more often than not, those places where Phantom Realm sightings are known to occur have a tradition of 12 worship. Then I dare to hope that we are on the right track. As I'm sure you know, Rhalgr's Reach is home to the Temple of the Fist, the ancient headquarters of the Fist of Rhalgr. Raised by the Mad King Theodoric, the temple lay abandoned before the Alamegan resistance claimed it for its operation. While I doubt that much literature survived over the years, the people here may possess some knowledge of the local faith. So let us split up and make inquiries and reconvene here afterwards to share our findings. I mean, there was that one guy at the top of the tower, the curl-fist guy that we blew to pieces in the dungeon, so might have accidentally closed up some resources there. Learned anything thus far? Oh, if it isn't Stella, is this man perchance a friend of yours? When last he visited, he shared with me the tales he heard on his journeys, and what amazing tales they were. If you have time, I'd love to hear both of your stories. Alas, we're in some haste. We're investigating the worship of Rhalgr and seek literature on the subject, religious texts and the like. Can any still be found here? Just about all of it is gone, sadly, destroyed by the Empire, if not the Mad King before that. But we haven't lost everything. The mighty image of the Destroyer, the tales we share at the campfire, like the legend of our nation's founding. We still have these things, and they were a source of great comfort and strength to us in our darkest moments. See, if you don't mind, I would be obliged to hear your stories for this time. So, rest assured I have this well in hand. Feel free to carry on as you were. You read the words inscribed on the monument. A storm of blood approaches fast. Hell's open heavens weep, for no one's soul doth lie beyond the measure of his reach. Once upon a time, Lys explained to you their meaning, that we must prepare ourselves for the strife and sorrow that will inevitably come. Yes. She did in fact do that once. Yes, if you have business, please make it quick. I'm due to meet with someone any moment now. Forgive my delay. Why, if it isn't the adventurer who kindly escorted me to the Temple of the Fist. Are you studying monks too, perhaps, chance? Oh, okay, so they are referencing that. If so, you ought to work together with me and my colleague here. Few things are finer than joining heads with like-minded folk. Researching the worship of the Destroyer, you say? Why didn't you mention it sooner? Okay. Book. This is a copy of Destructivity, a scripture of the Fist of Rhalgr. The original is one of the few texts that survived the Temple's razing, and it is in the safekeeping of one Professor Eric. Oh, that guy. I went to the trouble of having this made for my colleague, only for her to say she doesn't need it, so I will offer it to you instead. Lest you forget, this is your passion, not mine. I'm simply assisting you as a favor, and I'd thank you not to put us in danger. Ah, but danger is the crucible in which the monk tempers body and mind. So sublime, monks. Well, we had best return to our work. Till next time, adventurer. Stella, what were you able to learn? Got a book. A copy of one of the scriptures, you say? A moment while I skim over it. Gar's got the Charlene speed reading strategies. I see. This chapter appears to be a record of the construction of the great image of Rhalgr, written in a style that suggests folklore was committed to parchment. When the deluge of the sixth emerald calamity threatened Eorzea, the ancestors of the Alamegans were guided to safety by a comet. Believing that it was sent by Rhalgr, they came to hold him in the highest. This much of that tale I had been familiar with. But according to the scripture, among those refugees who followed the comet, some claim to have caught sight of Rhalgr himself. Their accounts were passed down through the centuries, and worshippers of the Destroyer pieced them together to give shape to yonder statue. I must say, it bears more than a passing resemblance to the being we encountered. Were that Rhalgr a primal, the explanation for the similarities would be simple. That is, the statue gives rise to an unified interpretation of Rhalgr's appearance, which in turn leads to the form of the primal. However, this fails to account for what inspired the likeness in the first place. If the scripture is to be believed, it was a sighting during the Sixth Emerald Calamity. Yet for those witnesses to be able to recognize Rhalgr, they would have needed to agreed upon idea of his appearance beforehand. Okay. If we then consider the history of the 12 worship, that it already existed in the Third Astral Era, it would not be ridiculous to think that these divinities existed even prior to that. So the question is, did these beings give rise to the receptive faiths, or are they primals born of them? I thought we had made it clear we are not summoned beings. There's no way they're just gonna manifest here. What? Oh. Oh. Since time immemorial, our domains have lain scattered across Eorzea. As a matter of fact, one of those in which you set foot is nearby. 'Tis not unusual for mortals to glimpse us. Wait, so why are they always traveling in pairs? That voice, could they be... Indeed, I am Bayergott, and the hawk beside me is Rhalgr. I shall elaborate upon my master's explanation. Is it because they're master and student? We thus disguise ourselves when we wish to observe the world, for being seen in our true forms would violate our laws of conduct. We thus disguise ourselves when we wish to observe the world without. For being seen in our true forms would violate our laws of conduct. Okay, so they have rules against being seen in their true form. Interesting. Yet, though we similarly disguise our sanctums, veiling them in illusion, rents are known to manifest when the surrounding ether is unstable. In such a time, should a gifted mortal chance to be near, they may inadvertently catch a sight of us. course, during an umbral calamity, etheric imbalance occurs on a star-wide scale, the ideal condition for seeing the Phantom Realm. Precisely. But precisely how many times we have been seen, we ourselves have no way of knowing, but that is a sound assumption to make. Well, Baragot, I believe that much shall suffice by way of an apology for our deception, shall we? Indeed, that is all we are at liberty to reveal. Fare you well, children of man. So they have a bunch of rules for how they function as like a collective. Interesting. So they're not all powerful if they have rules that bind them. Interesting. I never would have thought. Aside from their reticence where it considers their identity and objective, these divinities are certainly approachable. If what they said was true and their worship can be traced back to their sightings, it would serve to explain one thing. According to my research in the fields of comparative mythology, Rhalgrs often observed to bear many similarities with Ramuh. Assuming both were inspired by the Rhalgr of the Phantom Realm... Oh! And Baragot is Titan? Oh, that's weird. Oh, I never thought of that. And then Shiva's based on Halone? Oh, that's weird. That's actually really cool. Their divergence may be attributed to difference in culture between man and sylph. So you believe that they gave rise to the prevailing faiths of Eorzea. Given available evidence, yes, I'm inclined to. Yet none of this explains their presence. How and when did beings such power come into existence? Is this Cryle? Oh, 'tis you, Cryle. Has something happened? Truly, very well, I shall take care of it. Cryle's recruited an acquaintance to aid in our investigation, an authority on mythology. I must go and receive her at the sunken temple of Karn, where she is currently conducting fieldwork. After a brief detour to prepare a little something. Conveniently, Thanalan is home to countless adherents of Nald Thal. While I tend to business, may I ask the two of you to make inquiries in Ul'dah? Very well. Excellent, I shall join you as soon as I'm able. By your leave. So it's to be just you and me in Ul'dah. Oh, hey, nice. I suppose it can't be helped. Why is he so unhappy? What strange manners for one who proposed the survey to so promptly abandon it. I'll not lie, I am not given to working one-on-one with another, but I suppose I agreed to this arrangement. Well, we had best be on our way. As I recall, Milvanith Sacrarium is still closed for construction, so let us try our luck at Arazanith or Ossuary. If you have no objection to traveling separately, I trust. Good, I shall see you in Ul'dah. Ah, you're here. Yes, it is me. Oh, yeah, there is a resemblance. Of the deific twins, Nald Thal, here they worship Thal, who keeps the realm of the dead and weighs the worth of men's souls. In contrast, Nald keeps the world of the living and oversees their financial fortunes. Their names are borne by many a location and religious organizations. Some extremely wealthy and powerful exist to nurture faith in them. On the surface, it may seem strange that a hub of commerce such as Ul'dah could be home to such spiritual people, but it is actually quite logical when one considers that their religion is, in essence, commerce. In any event, Naltal is a truly unusual divinity. What was originally held to be one god came to be worshipped as twins. Indeed, rather than two distinct entities, that which we encountered was a single being possessed of two personalities. Oh. Did I mishear? Did he just say they encountered Naltal? And while his appearance differs somewhat to the divinity's oh no. And while his appearance differs somewhat to the divinities worshipped, it cannot be denied that there are striking similarities in their nature. We are starting to attract attention. Forgive me, this is hardly the place for such conversation. Let us continue it elsewhere. This is gonna cause some problems. I can already tell this is gonna be a bit of an issue in the long run. Twas careless of me to openly speak of our encounter with a divinity within a place where he is worshipped. Hereon I shall exercise greater caution. I thank you for alerting me to my indiscretion and ask that you keep it between us. Now then, to finish our conversation, as I mentioned, though the Naltal as worshipped by men appear somewhat different, there are undeniable similarities in their nature. I believe we may report this much to Grahatia. With that, our work here is done. Rather than waiting for our companion to arrive, perhaps we ought to seek him out at the Sunken Temple. He mentioned needing to make a detour. Were we to set out now, we ought to be able to catch up to him. After all, we hardly know one another. Rather than loitering with an unfamiliar person, 'tis better to use our time productively. Wouldn't you agree? Then let us head to the Sunken Temple of Karn at once. Ugh. You're here, thank goodness. I found this woman collapsed, though I can see no obvious injuries. By her attire, she appears to be some sort of scholar. Water, food, in my bag, please. I see. Stella, may I trouble you to find her bag? I will stand lookout in the meantime. So thirsty, so hungry, ugh. Not enough food. I need food. I have not saved dried meat, tough as leather. Do you have anything easier to consume? I've got some, like, stat food. Stella, Derek, what are you doing here? Actually, that can wait. Steady, Snowheim. I've brought you Archon loaf and coffee, made sweet and creamy just like you like it. What are those sound effects? Ah, I am reborn. Washed down with a sweet beverage, the life-giving nutrients of Archon loaf permeate my being from head to toe. Thank you, kind stranger. However you knew my preferred source of sustenance, you truly are a godsend. Oh, it's you, Raha. What brings you here? I don't recall mentioning my fieldwork. It's for my research into Belladine worship of Azima, you see. Haven't you heard from Cryle? The students are presently investigating the 12, and we would prevail upon your expertise. May I introduce Snowgame? Snowgame? Snoogeme? I don't know how to pronounce that. Snoogeme, expert mythologist. She's a collaborator of the students and, like many, a Charlatan scholar, is passionate about her endeavors to the point of forgetting to eat. Seeing as she has recovered, may I ask the two of you to tell her about the Phantom Realm? The 12 abide in the Phantom Realm, and you exchange not only words with them, but blows besides? Incredible. And your description of their domains, a thunderous tower in one and a sweltering city in another, are precisely as the heavens of lightning and fire depicted in legend. In ancient times, worshippers of the 12 believed that there exist 7 heavens and 7 hells. A theology has since established that departed souls return to the ethereal sea. But it seems those afterlife domains were more than just inventions of mortal imagination. As a pursuer of myths, I must say it feels somewhat anticlimactic to suddenly have these revelations given to me. But more than that, I'm dying to know more, which is to say, please allow me to join your investigation. We would, of course, welcome your presence without further ado. Without further ado, then, let us head to Umphalos. Kyle awaits us there. Alrighty. Derek's not happy with how many people are joining our team. Not really sure what he expected, though. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome, maybe it's Snoogame? Welcome, Snoogame. I'm glad you could join us. Kryl, how delightful to see you again. I understand you've been doing a fine job leading the students. But may I say what a lovely place this is. At a glance, it appears to be the highest of the heavens of legend, the 7th heaven. And ooh, if those aren't symbols representing the other heavens, I take it those are their respective gateways. I should like to pay them all a visit. For Snoogame's benefit, let us review what we have. Let us review what we have learned thus far, and then celebrate the next step. The gods reappeared before us in Ralgar's Reach, though they were disguised as unassuming creatures. Their laws forbid them from showing their true forms outside their realm. Yet in the event, so the monkey is also an aspect, isn't it? Yet in the event the ambient ether becomes unstable, such as during an umbral calamity, it is possible for the realm, and indeed the gods themselves, to be glimpsed by mortals. And such sightings, we believe, have given rise to the various faiths practiced through Eorzea. As we confirmed in Ul'dah, the Nodthal worshipped by people and the Nodthal we encountered here have more similarities than they do differences. In the course of exploring the Umphalos, 2 things caught my attention. The first is the gate which lies in the innermost area. If each of the other 6 gates lead to an elemental aspect of heaven, and we stand in the 7th heaven as Snoogame says, then what then lies beyond that last gate? The second is this monument. It harbors some manner of magic unlike anything I've seen before. I will endeavor to decipher it, but it will take time. Divinities that have existed since time immemorial, who abide in domains resembling the heavens of legend. Why have they chosen to reveal themselves to mortals seeking battle? Unless they favor us with more of their secrets, 'twould seem this monument holds the key to solving the mystery. Indeed, much and more yet lies beyond our understanding, but we will keep chasing the truth together. As I'm sure you'll agree, though, this is tiring work, both mentally and physically. We need to pace ourselves. To which end, might I suggest we return to Revenant's Toll and have a rest before we embark on the next stage of our investigation. thought for a second it was going to be voiced. So rarely do I get to simply chat with colleagues. I had fairly forgotten what it felt like. Indeed, and it's quite fitting that we should be doing here at the Seventh Heaven. Fitting? That's an understatement if I've ever heard one. Oh. The seventh and highest of the heavens, which rule over the remaining six, was right here in Mordona all this time. This isn't fitting, my friends, it's destiny. You are obviously well versed in the myths surrounding the heavens and hells. If you don't mind, I should like to hear your thoughts on them. This is nice. Invested as they are in their research, it doesn't take much to stoke their passions. My apologies if it makes you uncomfortable. Having always traveled alone, I'm admittedly not too familiar with such a lively atmosphere, but I do not mislike it. By the way, the two of you arrived at the Sunken Temple rather quickly. Did something happen? Well, as pleasant as this has been, it's past time we return to the Annex. The paperwork for this commission isn't going to complete itself, alas. Then I shall take myself to the Amphalos. There's so much there that I'd like to see. And I believe I will go for a walk nearby. It's getting a little warm in here. Alright, do take care now. Oh, Stella, it's pleasant, isn't it? The smell and sounds of a tavern. It makes one feel alive. And afterwards, stepping outside alone and breathing the cool air, I like that just as much. While we await developments, I shall remain here in Revenant's Hole. If there are tidings, rest assured I will share them with you. Thank you for your help thus far. I doubt so much could have been accomplished without you. Cool. And that's it for this patch, it seems.